Hey guys, welcome back, it's Meg. Today we're going to be running a 21 Mists on my Mistweaver. You can find my stat weights in the top left, my legendary in the top right, and you can find my trinkets and talent choices in the bottom right. Our affixes for this key are going to be Fortified, Bursting, Volcanic with a seasonal affix of Prideful. This is our first pull, and it is one of our largest pulls in here, so we're going to go ahead and make sure that we are applying our Renewing Mists. I'm also going to Fleshcraft, and then we are going to Mass Dispel the pack of Spirit Claws. We're going to go ahead and pop Crane and our Quantum Device, and we're going to start spinning and building stacks. You really want to make sure that you are watching your tank here and getting those dispelled as quickly as you can after there is two. You don't want to dispel one and then be waiting for the other one to go off, so you can focus a little bit more single target while you're waiting for that second debuff to come out. Now it is bursting week, so I'll most likely be using Revival as a way to get rid of bursting stacks, but we do also have a Shadow Priest, so that does help us quite a bit with the Mass Dispels and the bursting healing. That first pull always requires a bit of healing, and it is a little bit RNG depending on how quickly it dies, depending on which person gets the seed and which one has to either wait it out or use an immunity to end it. Right here we use our Incap from our DH, and we also mind-soothed it with a Priest. If you don't have any class that has a hard CC like Incap, you can also use Paralysis and then use Ring of Peace to knock them away, but you do have to be careful because you still have to make sure that you're walking in the contour of the mountain there, otherwise you will get threat. For these ads, you want to make sure that you either have your renewing spread, or people are using some ranging techniques, or they are using some sort of defensive. The range on this, I believe, is about 60 yards, so you're not going to be able to DPS at the same time, but if you do manage to put both of them at the same time, then you have an option to just leave melee and everyone can outrange the Thrash until it's over. You want to make sure that you hold onto Crane for the Prideful ad here, because you're not going to need it during the boss so much due to the fact that it doesn't increase damage or done or anything like that. You can see right there our Boomkin elected to range the Thrash instead of using a defensive. This is the pry that we'll be using Crane on. We don't need to use it on the boss because the damage should be pretty minimal, and with the right DPS cooldowns we should be able to make it through without worrying about using revival or anything like that. Going into this pull, we're going to make sure that we are watching where the Mistcaller is going, and then our Boomkin is also going to flap and pull the pack to our right. We're going to go ahead and use Crane here. We don't really need it, but we don't really want to sit on it either. We have at least 3 minutes in between now and our next Prideful, so it will be up when we need it again. And Revival has just come off of cooldown, but we're going to go ahead and use it again to top some people up and get that Mass Dispel taken care of. Unfortunately, we don't have a Mass Dispel here, and I've already used Revival, so the roots that go off are going to do quite a bit of damage, but normally we would be able to Revival that on like a non-bursting week. Once again, we're going to be using Crane on this pull. We don't need it for anything coming up, and it'll be up in time if we need it on boss. We have a prideful spawning in 1%, so we're just going to go ahead and use Crane on that. We won't be needing it for the boss, and if we do, it should be up by the time that we are at that point. There's nothing super scary in terms of AoE wide damage in this maze, so we end up using Crane on all of the prides, regardless if we actually need it or not. We just want to get some value out of it. Going into this boss, we're going to go ahead and lust, and we're just going to start doing DPS and spreading our renewing mists for the Vivify Cleave during the intermission guessing game phase. The only time you're really going to be needing to do any healing on this fight is just a little bit of tank healing. Usually your renewing will take care of that, and then just during this intermission phase. There is that shortcut to the left if you want to go ahead down before the roleplay's over, but I use this time to try and refill some of my mana. So because there's so many ground effects here, you really want to drop your Transcendent somewhere where you think will be safe, whether it's either way back in range or behind the range or on a platform that you're not even going to be pulling it. I highly recommend dropping a safety Transcendence. I also went ahead and used Crane here just because I was falling a bit behind on the damage. We won't have it for the next Prideful, but we should be just fine. Once again, we're going to heal this Prideful as normal. We're going to go ahead and start spreading our hots, and then we're going to begin extending them with our normal DPS rotation. And we have Crane off of cooldown now, but we're going to go ahead and hold on to that until we get our final Prideful. We did unfortunately wipe here because we didn't kill things even enough, so we had some big tank heavy adds and then we had the rest of the Prideful. So we do end up having to run back, but the Prideful is almost dead, so we should be able to take it right into the boss. We have about 2 minutes left on Crane now, so we are going to end up being able to use it towards the end of the next boss fight, but it's alright because we don't need it for the second half of the Pride. We're going to go ahead and use Lust here, and then we're just going to burn the boss as quickly as we can. One thing I can recommend is try not to move too much during this poison. You only should start torpedo or rolling out after it gets really hard to dodge them without movement speed abilities. And then another good point would be to pay attention to who is the anchor for the mind link, because if you end up being that person, you can go ahead and save any of the damage or movement for someone else by using your Transcendence to going to the outside of the arena area, just towards the edge. Alright, and that brings us to the end of our 21 Mists. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.